Oh hey, it's after hours at Cinemassacre Video, and I'm putting in a little overtime to talk more movies. But first, a word from our sponsor. It came from the internet. Sleek slabs of magic alloys ritualistically bound together with synthetic fibers by the necromancers at Ridge Wallets. Pack up to 12 cards in a variety of styles and colors, like the sinister burnt titanium. It's to die for. Just ask these other 30,000 lost souls. It even has a lifetime warranty and a 45-day test drive. They have other products too, like the Hook multi-tool for opening everything important: doors, brews, and coffins. Crawl on over to ridge.com/Cinemassacre and use code Cinemassacre for 10% off your order. So hey, we're going to talk Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li. We got Chad here. Hey, it's been a long time.
How's it going? Yeah, it's been a very long time.
Well, I think the last video I remember that we shot, I mean, it might not have been the last one, but it's certainly one of the most memorable, is the Transformers Megadong one.
Yeah, Yep. I couldn't get the thing in the right spot, and he just had a gun dick, and you know what? I felt that was an improvement.
Yeah, and I may have had the fastest score. However, I did not make Megadong, so I must concede.
Anyway, yeah, dude, thanks for having me on. It's been forever since we had filmed together, and when you texted me, I love that you remembered. You were like, hey, I want to do an episode on the Legend of Chun-Li, and I think I remember you saying that, like, you really, really hate that movie. I was just like,
yeah, exactly, yeah. Because they like, you know, were putting this list together, and then this came up, and I was like, that movie? I was like, you know, like I was talking to Chad a long time ago about doing that sometime. So I was like, we got to get him on it. But now we've changed format and everything's all different anyway, so we're still going to do it. I mean, I personally, I've never seen it till now.
You're lucky.
Yeah. I heard of it when it came out, and I just heard that it was very negatively received. So much that Leonard Maltin, who's like, for anybody who doesn't know Leonard Maltin, he's like the classic film critic. He's like he's the film critic, Leonard Maltin. Right. And then he said that this movie makes the original look like Gone with the Wind.
I mean, it's true. Like, there's something about the original movie that, despite how just terrible it is, it still has just an amazing charm to it. Like, how do you have Jean-Claude Van Damme as the all-American hero? You know?
I doubt anyone's confused, but just in case, the original Street Fighter with Sonny Chiba was a totally unrelated movie. But we're, of course, when we say the original, we mean the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie.
Absolutely, man. With Captain Sawada, who then somehow made it in as a character into Street Fighter the movie, the game, which was a whole thing.
I mean, this one, to me, it just seems generic. Like, I didn't really have such a strong reaction to it. I wasn't like, oh, I hate this, but I was just like, this just seems like a generic martial arts crime film that's sort of related to Street Fighter.
Yeah, so here's why I think it just frustrated me so much. I'm a huge Street Fighter fan, if you can't tell by like the plethora of Street Fighter stuff I have behind me. And I was tricked. I know better than to get excited for video game movies, right? Let's be real. Like 99% of them are complete trash. And so we go to see it like opening night. This is back in the day, so it was like me and like the rest of the ScrewAttack crew, and like April's with me. And oh yeah, by the way, fun fact, my wife is also named April. Anyway, so we go. And we see it in the theaters, and I remember the moment that I got foolishly sucked into thinking this movie might actually be good, and that was that the Capcom logo came up on the screen in the theater, and they were using the actual, like, the Street Fighter logo that they designed for Street Fighter 4, and I was like, oh my god, wait, if Capcom is actually, like, were they actually involved? Like, will this actually be a decent Street Fighter movie? No! God, no!
Yeah, I guess like expectations do have a lot to do with things.
For sure, but it's just like there's so many things in this film, like aside from the fact that it's just such a generic is a great way to put it. Like the dialogue, oh my god, every interaction between Charlie Nash and Maya, who's supposed to be Sea Viper, is just like, that's in my notes when I was going through. It's just like every time they are on camera together, it is the cringiest, most generic shit.
New Year's come early? We got a tip at 6 this morning. Someone wanted us to know this was here. Heads of every crime family. Signed, sealed, and delivered.
Yeah, Last Supper. And he serves them their own heads. I've tracked him through 11 major cities on 4 continents and never come close, not once. This guy walks through the raindrops.
Don't go wasting your emotion.
Like they did the classic movie thing of like a henchman's walking out, and then of course Charlie turns to her and grabs her, so they have to make out so they don't see their faces. That guy doesn't know who the fuck you are. Like it just felt, the whole movie felt like they didn't even take a moment to like even just look up anything about like a Street Fighter character. It was like if every single character was like designed by judging a book by its cover. Like you looked at the cover and then you're like, okay, we can write the character from there. But even not even that, because physical appearance they screwed up too. It's like, so Bison, right? God. So Bison is this like, you know, evil dictator, dark hair, very evil. In this movie, they make him a blonde-haired, blue-eyed dude with a terrible Scottish accent. You're already just like, what? And this guy's Scottish accent. If he's actually Scottish, like I completely apologize. I haven't looked that up, but like if that's his real accent, like it just sounds so fake. Then in the story, they go to tell you that, well, you know, Bison, he was born to Scottish missionaries, but they abandoned him in where was it? Let's see, in Thailand or wherever they were currently, right? Hey, guess what? Accents aren't hereditary. They show him as a baby in this like Thai hospital or whatever, and so he grew up there. But somebody actually wrote in the script that, well, his parents were Scottish, so he should have a Scottish accent. God. So like Balrog, who's played by the dude from The Green Mile, right? Who, you see The Green Mile, that guy is a great actor.
Yeah, he is.
So there's like none of the performances in this film are good. So like I feel like the director just did not give a shit.
Yeah, like you could take a good actor in this movie and then just make him bad. Like it just.
Oh. So the thing about Balrog, like Balrog's supposed to be the big, you know, boxer dude, right? Like he's all about boxing. That's his whole thing. So you get a little bit of him like throwing some punches against Chun-Li's dad in the very beginning when then they go like capture him. Which also, what was it that like, did you see the part where like Chun-Li's dad just like puts his hand in fire and then like attaches it to a chain and then the whole, it's like fucking Ghost Rider's chain goes like flying out at the dude? Because that's actually one thing I'll give this movie. Like, some of the fight scenes are fun. Like, they really embrace, they're like, well, it's a fighting game and people are throwing fireballs and shit. So like, we'll embrace that a little bit and we'll really lean into like that old school kung fu and like put some people on wires. And like, so some of the combat is like really fun to watch. And so
yeah, like the fight scenes weren't bad.
Right. There's a couple that are like pretty jump cutty, but a lot of stuff, there's like some really impressive things. Like, oh my, dude, when it's so small too, but it's like when they're going to like infiltrate the base or whatever, and Chun-Li just comes running up and does that like full backflip double kick to this one guard like straight in the face. I was like, that was sick.
Yeah. Like I was glad that they got some of the moves in there, like when she does the upside down kick.
Oh God, except. Fine, okay, we'll talk about that then. I'll go back to Balrog. Here's the thing, dude. The awkward, weird, like dance fight that they have, and then like all the guys like get around her, and then yeah, she's of all the moves for them to like really be like, well, we need to incorporate. We're gonna do the spinning bird kick, the thing that looks like the most ridiculous move she has because it's a video game. Like she flips upside down and does a helicopter with her legs, right? And so they do that, and so she does a handstand and spins around and kicks him. But then they're just like, hey, we really need you to know that this is the spinning bird kick. If you didn't get it, we are now going to cut to the necklace she has of the spinning bird and show it spinning. So just.
Well, some reason the part that I found the weirdest was the I think it's called the Kikoken.
Kikoken.
Or Kikoken. Which is her fireball move in the game, and up until that point, when Gen is training her and shows her how to do it, it seems like the movie is trying to be more based in the real world, and then you see this fireball, and it just comes out of nowhere, and it's like, okay, like maybe if they did that kind of stuff more often, it would have seemed all right. But something about it was just very off-putting.
Oh, it's also, the effect looks horrible, and they didn't even get the color right. That's the other thing. It's like, it's supposed to be blue. Everyone knows it's supposed to be blue. Also, while Gen, yes, in like Street Fighter canon is he did train Chun-Li, Gen doesn't know how to do a Kokoken, by the way. He does not. He doesn't have that ability.
So Gen is a Street Fighter character.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he played a background role for a while, and then I think it was Street Fighter 4 when he first became playable, because I don't think he was an alpha. Anyway, but yeah, he's supposed to be he's an older dude. He's got white hair, and he's pretty badass. Whereas like Chun-Li does like lightning legs. He's got this cool like fist thing, kind of like E Honda. Anyway. But yeah, so he can't do that. And I know what you're saying, because it's like, it feels very like, whoa, okay, we're taking like this mystical turn, even though it's like, it's, you know, chi. And then later, after Chun-Li gets she gets shot, because she saves the kid, right? You know, like the kid's like right there, she's like, no, and she like gets shot, and then now the people get really angry, and they throw a lot of fruit. So now she's shot, and she just slinks off to the first alley that she comes into, and then Gen just walks up, and he's just like, oh, hi there. And then she's just like, you're alive. And he's like, yep, let's get you all healed up. And then he just like uses magic powers to close up her wound.
Then the part that I found the weirdest of all was about M. Bison puts his soul into his unborn daughter.
Oh, there it is.
I'm like, what is going on?
Hands down.
Here's the thing, and here's what they did that for. So Rose is not his daughter in Street Fighter canon. She's a gypsy, but she basically like feels this like super evil presence, and she goes to like track down Bison. And then Bison gets really weird with shit with his soul. Like he's like uploaded it to like satellites and shit, and like. But anyways, she finds out she does share a piece of his soul, and it becomes a whole thing, because then later he possesses her and whatever. So I guess they read that, but then they were like, well, how does that happen? And somebody actually went, all right, so here's how this goes. Bison takes his pregnant wife into the Cave of Wonders. And then, like, lays her down. And then he's going to take both his hands, and he's going to go right over her very clear belly button. And then he's just going to... I still remember that moment so vividly in the theater. So by this point, there's like almost nobody here, even though it was opening night. April had already like put up a couple like arm rests and laid down to fall asleep. So that's happening. And I remember this thing's happening. It shows her stomach, and you already just get this weird vibe. You know, you're just like, what are you doing? And then it shows the hand over the belly button. The theater is dead silent, and I just go, no. And then, which just like booms throughout the theater. And then sure enough, he just dives right in there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really where I checked out. I was just like, okay, this is weird. Like, I don't get what's going on anymore.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's so weird, and that's how you think about it. You're like, hey, what was the plot of the movie? Chun-Li's dad gets kidnapped, so she wants to go find him, but Bison's trying to take over the world and also find his conscience daughter. Why wouldn't you have kept her or like held on to her? But instead they had to find her and then ship her there. What's she been what? And that's his weakness. And it's like, but I thought it was just his morals. He had to like. And also, if you can already jam your hands into a pregnant woman's stomach and pull out a baby, I really don't think you needed to get rid of your morals. The Balrog fight scene, that's what I was trying to touch on a little bit. His big moment is when he goes to fight Gen, and he doesn't even box. He walks in with a gun, he shoots at him like a bunch of times, and then like, I'm like, oh, come on, like, box. Like, this is the time. It's like, we're gonna get that Street Fighter fight scene. And then Gen's got his arms pulled back, and then he starts to do that, like, oh, and he like, you know, has this badass moment where he gets his arms back, and now I'm like, okay, cool, you were just setting it up with the gun shit, and now it's gonna happen. Now we're gonna get, oh, wait, no, he's picking up, like, a settling container, and, oh, he's just gonna hit him with that.
I mentioned that they, well, first of all, I didn't know Street Fighter had fatalities, but he gets a fatality done to him, And it's basically a ripoff of the ending of Commando, where Schwarzenegger takes the pipe and jams it through the villain's chest as it's spraying out steam. This time I think it's like liquid nitrogen or something. But
yeah, what was that effect? Like, was he? I couldn't tell. Did he boil? Did he freeze? Did they just like, I don't know, just throw some filters over it?
The effects in Jason X were way better. Like when they get frozen.
Man, Charlie Nash was played by Oz from American Pie, if you remember that, if you seem familiar.
And all I've learned has overturned, I beg of you.
And he's like constantly trying to hit on Maya, which her ending line was so weird. Like, if you get lonely at night, don't call me.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, I didn't know what that meant, really. Yeah.
Let me see some of the dialogue that I jotted down. Just like your father, always standing up when standing's not easy. They really wanted to hammer that in a few times. But probably the dumbest line throughout the whole movie is when Chun-Li gets to see her dad, right? And they have their like little moment, and he's just like, "What are you doing? Like, I've been like doing all this to keep you safe, and you're really screwing that up." And she's like, "Yeah, but I'd rather have a dad." And then Bison comes in, and he puts his hands, on the sides of his face. And then he's like, he says the line,
"You see, your father has been the milk of my business. But even milk has an expiration date."
And then breaks his neck. And I'm like, milk is one of the things that spoils the fastest. Of course it does.
Yeah, so another like just little trivia moment is that, again, he was played by this actor, Robin Shaw. He played Liu Kang in Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he got to be in Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat.
I know, that was so cool, actually. That was one moment I did enjoy in the theaters, because the second I saw him, I was just like, hey! Like, he's now, like, so she goes off to get trained by Liu Kang. That's sweet.
I heard that they were even trying to get a cameo from Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, man. I mean, he made a good call.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It has like a 4 or a 5% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like,
yeah. There was this one, this movie got really, really trashed. Thinking about what was the movie trying to do, I kind of liked the direction, I guess, that they, it just was failed, but that how it was sort of like, all right, we're going to focus on one Street Fighter character instead of having like just try to cram all the characters into one movie and satisfy everything. Let's just focus on Chun-Li. I mean, it's a good choice. Chun-Li is like one of the best known characters in the game, arguably, but I mean, I picked Chun-Li a lot. So I thought that was a good choice.
So good.
And then maybe just kind of, but then again, it almost seemed like they were trying to do the cinematic universe thing, because at the very end, they're like,
that's what's so funny is like, this movie's such trash. Like, how can you not know how bad this movie is when you're making it? And yet at the end, they were like, let's tee up a sequel.
Yeah, but then it's almost like they sort of tee up a sequel, but then they change their mind in the movie. They're like, so there's this tournament, and there's this guy, Ryu, and you want to go fight him? I hear he's a real big deal. And then she's like, no, I'm just gonna stay at home. I'm home now, or whatever it is she says. And it's like, okay, let's not have a sequel then. That's fine with me.
Yeah, I know, right? And then Gen's like, oh fuck, I thought we were doing a sequel. Okay. Yeah, that was weird. They called him Ryu, which is wrong. And the whole movie, they call Shadaloo, and that was just driving me insane. Like, the sound design, they add so much. There's so many added things, right, in the sound design. Like, even to the point, like, Bison will just come up and, like, place his hand on someone's shoulder threateningly, but not, like, and they'll do, like, a fight sound effect for it, right? But then in his death scene, which we haven't even talked about yet, they have an actually like pretty fun, like decent fight. She gets thrown into bamboo, and then Gen's just like, you know what you have to do. And then she's just like, and just like very calmly is just like, and the horrible effect starts happening, and the weird orangey colored Kakokin forms, and she blasts him, and he flies off the thing and lands. And then As if they were like, well, we can't just have like just hitting him with a fireball. That's not dramatic enough. So what we'll do is we'll have his daughter come out because she's his weakness. Remember, we clarified that, so she's got to be watching, I guess. And then Chun-Li's gonna leap off of this building, drop about like 15 to 20 feet, right? Scissor his head with her legs, come to a complete stop from that jump, and then spin his head completely around backwards. And there was no sound effect. When they spin him, like when his head goes, there wasn't even like a or anything. It just...
In general, I felt like with video game movies, I always feel like if it's not going to look like the game, I really don't care too much, because it seems like the trend is to sort of like normalize everything or like make everything look more like real life. Like, well, here's what this video game would look like if it were real life and if it were just dark and gritty. And like, I mean, Chun-Li, like, okay, she doesn't... At one point, they give her like the hairdo, like a similar hairdo, and they dress her in blue. And that's about it. But another, like, if you just compare a picture of Chun-Li, the Chun-Li that you know, with the character in the movie, it doesn't look very similar at all.
And what's crazy is it would have been so easy to come up with a reason for her to, like, even if you want to like have that, like, what's that movie reason for her to be wearing like the Chun-Li outfit? Like, all you'd have to do is be like, oh yeah, there was some like, I don't know, like an Asian gala that Bison's gonna be at, and it's like really fancy, formal, like traditional, you know, whatever. And then like, and there you go, she wears the blue thing to go up in there. She just won't have the little spikes, but whatever, that's fine. Like, you could come up with an excuse very easily.
M. Bison, like, he doesn't resemble anything like M. Bison. And we're going all the way back to like Dennis Hopper and Super Mario Brothers. Like why does the villain have to look nothing like the villain in the game? Like nothing at all. And even the Sonic movie, which I thought was pretty good overall. Did you see that?
I haven't yet. I actually heard it was pretty solid.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty good. You know, Jim Carrey, he's really entertaining as Dr. Robotnik, but I always felt like, why couldn't you just make him look like Robotnik? And here's the weird thing. At the very end, just the very end, like the last minute, he looks like Robotnik. They just give him the whole outfit. They give him like the long mustache, everything. And you're like, well, there it is. Like, he could have just looked like that the whole movie. So I don't know what it is. And like, even movies that I like, you know, like the X-Men movies, most of them, I guess, are pretty good. Like Wolverine. Like, I know very little about X-Men, but if you would ask me, what does Wolverine look like? I'd be like, well, he's got, you know, claws and he dresses in yellow. Like, I always see him in that.
Yeah, the yellow and blue with the, yeah, or even back in the day, it was yellow and brown.
And in the movies, he's just like wearing black all the time.
The black suit with the silver X. Yep. Because they wanted it, they felt it looked too cartoony. That's one of the things that the Marvel movies do incredibly well. They managed to translate like those hero outfits and somehow make them look believable and cool on screen and not pop out like their cartoon characters. So good.
Yeah, that really is. So there's a good example. Right. But it is weird how it does seem like in general they want to take the brightness and the colors out of things. Like it even goes to sports. Like I've noticed there's sports teams that had like bright colors and then they would just use the same color but darken it.
Easy. I think with the Bison thing, I think they were so scared of the backlash for the first movie, you know, because like,
well, now you have people saying like, oh, he's not as good as Raul Julia, and like, it's true. It's like when they did the first movie, they knew what it was. They,
yeah, he got the full outfit. They even found a way to do his like Bison head stomp at that one point, and you got the best line from that whole movie. The day that Bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Oh, then there's the whole screaming monologue about how when Satan fell like lightning, there's all that.
Oh yeah, lightning came from the...
Yeah. Oh man, that's my favorite part there. And then he does the jump kick and everything explodes.
Vega, Vega's character... Here's his bullet points. He is a Spanish bullfighter who considers himself so beautiful that he wears a mask for 2 reasons. 1, to not fuck up his face while he's fighting, and 2, because he feels that it's a privilege for other people to look upon his beauty. So he keeps it hidden. They do the exact fucking opposite in this movie. Chun-Li fights Vega, who's played by the dude from Black Eyed Peas, one of them. They have this like fight scene, and then the mask, which looks so weird, gets knocked off, and then she's like, "Yeah, if I had a face like that, I'd hide it behind a mask too." And I'm like, "No, you, damn it, that's the exact opposite." And then she throws the thing and cuts him, so that's kind of because he got really pissed off about it. I was like, well, that at least is kind of in line. I will say, the actress who played Maya, who again is supposed to be Sea Viper, do you know what her name is?
No.
Moon Bloodgood.
Oh, yes, I do, because she was in a Terminator Salvation. That's a lot of double O's in a name.
It is. And also, when I first, like, I did a double take, because the first time I saw it on the credits, I thought it said Moon Blood God, and I was like, who has that name? That might be like the most badass name that's ever been put in credits. And I'm like, Bloodgood, I mean, still pretty hardcore.
Yeah, that is one crazy name. Yeah, I mean, other than Terminator Salvation, I can't think of anything else with her in it.
Oh, yeah, I have no idea. She looked kind of familiar, so I was wondering why. You remember Chun-Li had to have that montage where she's living on the streets because, like, you know, it's rough. It's real hard times. I really want to stress that. Chun-Li's going through a lot in full fucking makeup. Like, she's like curled up on this bed in a dingy alley with, like, fire, and she is, like, perfect. Like,
Strike me, too. I saw that. Because I think the monologue, it either happens right before it, or, like, the narration, or it's like over it, but then you see her, and like just as they're describing how like starved she is, and how like she's been, you know, and then she just like she sits up, and then like there she is, like and like you said, like full makeup and just totally perfect looking.
Yeah, like she's about to go take headshots. Like it is like.
And then I think they do give her kind of like raggedy clothes later, but it's, you know.
Right.
I think by the end, I think they smeared a little bit of like dirt on her cheek. I think it was like, that's about as crazy as we got.
Yeah, I mean, it basically kind of seemed like they were trying to make this the start of a new Street Fighter series and like get into like an origin for each character, and like, well, obviously that didn't happen, but I don't know. Hopefully they get it right the third time. But it is funny though how when you have two movies on two different sides of the spectrum. And the first one was you know, criticized. It was a bad movie, but then now the first one kind of is like appreciated a little bit, like it has a cult following. So sometimes when something else comes along, it kind of helps the original. I
just hope. What's crazy too is like the first movie they focused on Guile. This movie they focused on Chun-Li, who's still, you know, a very popular character, but like Ryu's kind of always been the poster boy for a Street Fighter, and he's got a cool backstory. He's the beginning animation in, I think, Super Street Fighter 2, right? Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, he's just dun, 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 in the shadow. Yeah, and then he gets, it's great. But yeah, man, like, it's so weird that they didn't choose to, like, start with Ryu. Like, he's the Wandering Warrior. He's got some really cool, there's a whole story arc there with, like, him. He's got his training with Gouken, like, and then Akuma comes in and like just like kills the shit out of Gouken, and they come home, and then like literally like the raging demon symbol is like, it's like, well, I think it's the heaven earth symbol, is like painted on the wall in Gouken's blood. Like, there's a lot of really cool stuff in the like Ryu backstory that I think they could do, but well, they'd probably fuck it up. Yeah. I think what I'd like to see happen if they were to do another, like, I would say, get away from all the crime stuff. Like, try not to even have guns in it if you can help, because it's kind of like, if it's a gun movie, it's a gun movie. If it's a fighting martial arts movie, keep it a hand-to-hand fighting movie, and try to get away from the normalizing of everything. Kind of let the bright colors come out. Let's see the correct costumes. And let's make it a little more of a tournament movie. Like, I think this is a Street Fighter movie, but I would say, like, I don't think there's any
need to focus on plot too much. Like, sure, give them all a backstory, but let's just see a tournament. So
Right.
yeah, like let's just see like more one-on-one fights within a tournament setting, and then build the plot around that. But let's have the fights be the focus.
Yeah, they do that a bit in the animated movies. They do a much better job there, but
Yeah, it seems like they usually get it better in animation. Like the new Mortal Kombat is pretty good. So yeah, I don't know. It's
not good.
It's not good. Yeah.